The winners are not the kindest people. And this isn't an opinion, it's biology. When you are overly kind, overly available, overly giving, the other person's brain does not release dopamine, the chemical of desire, pursuit, and motivation. Instead, it releases oxytocin, the hormone of familiarity, comfort, and safety. And the human brain does not respect what feels familiar. It relaxes around it. It stops paying attention. The winners are the ones who make other people's nervous systems stay alert. Uncertainty increases dopamine. Dopamine creates obsession. Obsession creates value. That's why the person who replies instantly is often taken for granted, while the person who pauses, who withholds just enough, suddenly becomes magnetic. The winners are also not the most transparent people. Total transparency shuts the brain down. When everything is revealed, there is nothing left to interpret, nothing left to anticipate. Powerful people, leaders, high-status individuals, those who are chaste, all understand this instinctively. They create information gaps, and the brain hates gaps. It rushes to fill them with assumptions, projections, fantasies. You don't need to announce your importance. When you remain unreadable, other people's minds do the work for you. And no, the winners are not the ones who give the most. Constant giving trains the other person's brain into entitlement. They adapt, they expect, and when the flow stops, they don't feel gratitude, they feel irritation. Selective giving does something very different. It activates loss aversion, one of the strongest survival mechanisms in the human brain. The fear of losing something is far more powerful than the pleasure of gaining it. You were taught that the world runs on morality, but the human body runs on hormones, reflexes, and ancient survival instincts. That's why so many people live correctly, yet always fall behind. And that's what brings us here. Because right now, there are 7 Machiavellian laws quietly exploiting these biological reactions, shaping who is respected, who is desired, and who is used. And once you see them, you won't be able to unsee them. We begin with Law 1. Law 1. Scarcity value is created by withdrawal. The first law is the foundation of all value, and it is the one you violate every single day. You have been conditioned to believe that respect is earned through generosity, that to be valued, you must be present, available, responsive, answer the message immediately, pick up the extra shift, listen to the drama, offer your time the moment it is requested. You believe this makes you reliable. You believe this makes you good. It does not. It makes you cheap. Human beings like to believe they are rational, but the truth is far less flattering. We respond to the same forces that govern markets, animals, and survival systems. Scarcity creates value. Abundance destroys it. Water is essential for life, yet it is almost free because it flows everywhere. Diamonds are nearly useless, yet they are worshipped because they are rare, hidden, and difficult to obtain. The same law applies to you. When you are always available, you become water. Necessary, perhaps, but never respected. You are consumed, taken for granted, expected. And when you finally pull back, people don't feel gratitude for what you gave. They feel anger that the service has stopped. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. A prince who is seen too often becomes ordinary. A leader who is always accessible loses his aura. Familiarity does not breed respect. It breeds indifference. Look at your own life and be honest. Who holds your attention? Is it the person who replies instantly with reassurance and explanations? Or is it the person who takes their time, whose attention feels earned, whose presence feels selective, whose absence creates tension? The human brain is wired to chase what retreats. Uncertainty increases dopamine. Dopamine drives focus, pursuit, and obsession. What is guaranteed fades into the background. What can be lost becomes valuable. This is not about playing games. It is about understanding the weight of your own existence. You must stop distributing yourself like free flyers on a street corner and start rationing your presence like gold. This means you do not explain everything. You do not show up to every event. You do not answer every call. You create a void. And nature hates a vacuum. When you withdraw, people lean in. When you are silent, they wonder what you are thinking. When you are absent, they wonder where you are. In that wondering, they construct a fantasy of you, and that fantasy is far more powerful than the reality of someone always available, always waiting, always usable. Start small. Withdraw even 20% of your availability. Watch how the room changes. Watch how casual messages turn urgent. You are not being cruel. You are teaching others the value of what you offer by reminding them that it can be lost. This is the economics of presence, and everything else is built on it. Law 2. Never be the hero, be the necessity. The second law explains why so many people are praised, appreciated, and then quietly discarded. Most people try to be loved. They try to be the hero. They rush in to save the day. They fix problems that aren't theirs. They give advice, money, time, emotional labor. They heal wounds, absorb chaos, and stabilize situations they did not create. And for a moment, they are celebrated. Then the crisis ends. The problem is solved. The patient recovers. And suddenly, the hero is no longer needed. This is the brutal truth. Heroes are remembered, but they are not protected. Once their function is complete, they become expendable. Gratitude fades quickly when dependence disappears. Machiavelli understood this clearly. He wrote that a wise ruler must ensure his subjects always need his rule, in every circumstance and at all times. Translation: power does not come from affection, it comes from dependence. This sounds cold because it is cold, but it is also real. Look at the corporate world. The employee who is well-liked but easily replaceable is the first to be cut when budgets shrink. Talent matters, but irreplaceability matters more. The person who holds the key relationship, the unique skill, the critical system, that person survives. Look at relationships. The partner who is endlessly kind but provides no structure, no direction, no emotional gravity is often taken for granted. Love alone does not create safety. Stability does. People do not anchor themselves to warmth. They anchor themselves to certainty. If you want to be untouchable, your absence must create pain. Not emotional drama, but structural disruption. Things must stop working when you leave. In your career, this means more than doing your job well. It means owning something, a process no one else understands, a client no one else can manage, a skill that cannot be outsourced or replaced overnight. When you walk away, the building should shake. In personal relationships, this is more subtle and more dangerous. It is not about money or control. It is about becoming psychologically essential. Be the one who understands their deepest ambition, the one who can calm their specific anxiety, the one who brings clarity where the world brings noise. Affection is volatile. It changes with mood, stress, and opportunity. Need is primal. Need is stable. People will leave someone they love for someone they need, but they rarely leave someone they need for someone they merely love. Stop trying to convince people that you are good. Good people are replaceable. Prove instead through competence, composure, and irreplaceable value that you are necessary. Once dependence is established, respect no longer has to be requested. It is paid quietly like a tax to ensure you do not withdraw your support. This is the difference between being an accessory and being a necessity. Accessories are swapped. Necessities are guarded. Law 3. Concealment, the fog of war. The third law is where honest people destroy themselves. You were taught that honesty is the best policy. That transparency builds trust. That sharing your goals makes them real. So you announce your plans. I'm starting a business. It's day. I'm going to quit. I'm going to change my life. And then nothing happens. The business collapses before it starts. The exit never comes. The transformation stalls. This is not bad luck. It is cause and effect. A declared intention is power given away. The moment you reveal your plans, you weaken yourself in three critical ways. First, you trigger premature reward. Neuroscience shows that when you announce a goal and receive approval, nods, praise, encouragement, your brain releases dopamine as if the goal were already achieved. The hunger fades. The urgency disappears. You are rewarded for talking, not for doing, and so you stop moving. Second, you invite sabotage. The moment you articulate ambition, you force the people around you to confront their own stagnation. Some will consciously resist you. Most will undermine you subtly. They will plant doubt, disguised as concern. Are you sure this is the right time? That sounds risky. They don't need to stop you directly. Slowing you down is enough. Third and most dangerous, you become predictable, and predictability is death. If people know what you want, they know how to control you. If they know you want a promotion, they can dangle it to extract free labor. If they know you fear abandonment, they can mistreat you, knowing you won't leave. Your desires become levers in someone else's hands. Machiavelli warned against this centuries ago. A ruler must never reveal his true intentions until the outcome is already decided. He must never show where he will strike until the blade is falling. This is the fog of war. In war, visibility is weakness. The side that reveals its position first loses. The same principle governs human interaction. Adopt concealment in your daily life. When you are angry, wear calm. When you are desperate, wear abundance. When you are preparing a major move, speak about nothing important at all. Let your actions be the only announcement you ever make. There is immense power in the person who does not explain themselves. When you remain unreadable, people project their own fears and expectations onto you. They try to guess. They try to impress. In doing so, they reveal everything while you reveal nothing. Use decoy intentions. If you want power, appear content with stability. If you want distance, appear friendly. If you want to leave, appear settled. By the time your true intention becomes visible, resistance is no longer possible. Do not be the dog that barks and warns the intruder. Be the viper in the grass, silent, still, and decisive only when the distance is closed. Silence is not weakness. Silence is positioning. And in the game of power, positioning decides everything. Law 4. Emotional asymmetry. The one who cares less controls the relationship. This law governs every relationship you have ever been in. With your parents, your lovers, your friends, your boss. It is brutal, and it is universal. The person who cares less holds the power. This is known as the principle of least interest. In any negotiation, the individual who can walk away sets the terms. One person needs the deal, the other does not. Who wins? Always the one who can leave. Now, look at your own life. Where are you suffering? Where are you anxious, overthinking, rereading messages, checking tone and timing? Where are you asking yourself, are we okay? That anxiety is not invisible. It leaks. Human beings are exquisitely sensitive to emotional imbalance. When you invest more emotion, more attention, more urgency than the other person, you signal dependence, and dependence collapses leverage. You mistake intensity for commitment. They interpret it as weakness. When you overinvest, you tilt the scale. You place the other person on a pedestal, and from that height, they can only look down on you. You give them the power to hurt you, and then wonder why they do. This is not because they are cruel. It is because you made yourself cheap. You signaled that no matter what happens, you will stay. You will explain. You will chase. You will absorb the imbalance to preserve the bond. And once that signal is sent, respect evaporates. To regain control, you must restore emotional asymmetry. This does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you become cold or sociopathic. It means you cultivate detachment. You build a center of gravity inside yourself that does not depend on any single relationship for validation, stability, or identity. When the other person pulls back, you do not rush forward to close the gap. You stay where you are. You let the space exist. Imagine a scale. If they step off their side, you do not jump over to hold them up. You remain grounded. You allow the imbalance to be felt by them. And that is where the power shifts. When you stop chasing, the anxiety transfers. Suddenly, they are the ones wondering why you are quiet, why you are not calling, why you are not reacting. The void they once used against you now opens beneath them. Here is the paradox most people cannot accept. We are drawn to those who do not need us. We crave the approval of the person who is hard to impress. We pursue the affection of those who appear self-contained, centered, complete. If you make someone the center of your universe, they will eventually leave to find a universe of their own. But if you are your own universe, stable, self-sustaining, unmoved, they will orbit you. You must be willing to lose the relationship in order to keep it. You must be willing to walk away to negotiate from strength. The moment you are genuinely prepared to leave, you become dangerous. And in the economy of human connection, danger is power. Law 5. Surgical cruelty. Cut clean, cut fast. This is the law that separates leaders from cowards. It is also the law where misplaced kindness causes the most damage. Machiavelli wrote that injuries should be inflicted all at once, so that, tasted less, they offend less, while benefits should be distributed slowly, so their pleasure lasts. Most people do the exact opposite, and they pay for it for years. When faced with conflict, you hesitate. You soften the blow. You delay the decision. You break up, but you stay friends. You fire an employee, but give them false hope. You distance yourself from a toxic person instead of cutting them off. You believe you are being gentle. You are not. You are being cruel. Dragging out pain does not reduce it, it multiplies it. By refusing to end what must end, you keep wounds open. You allow resentment to fester. You turn days of pain into months, sometimes years. This is not compassion. It is cowardice, disguised as empathy. The Machiavellian mindset demands that you think like a surgeon. When a limb is gangrenous, you do not massage it. You do not negotiate with it. You amputate. One clean cut. Brutal. Final. The shock is intense, but the suffering ends quickly. And because it ends, healing can begin. Look honestly at your life. What is rotting but still attached? A relationship that died long ago but refuses to be buried. A habit that is quietly eroding your ambition. A person who disrespects you repeatedly and then apologizes just enough to stay. Do not negotiate with rot. Do not offer it improvement plans. Do not hope it will fix itself. Strike once, strike decisively, and do not look back. Leaving doors cracked open out of guilt invites cold drafts that make you sick over time. Ambiguity is not mercy. It is torture. The person who ends things clearly, who cuts contact and does not return, offers the other party the dignity of closure. The person who ghosts, reappears, sends mixed signals, and promises maybe someday traps others in a prison of hope. That is the true cruelty. If you must give benefits time, attention, support, give them slowly. Make people wait. Let value accumulate. But when you must inflict pain or impose consequences, do it so cleanly that there is no confusion. People respect a decisive executioner. They despise a clumsy one. This law is not about being heartless. It is about being precise. In the game of power, mercy without clarity is weakness, and weakness invites repeated conflict. Cut once. Heal fast. Move forward. That is surgical cruelty, and it is the only kindness that actually works. Law 6. Spectacle control the image, or be controlled by it. You were raised with a comforting lie. Don't judge a book by its cover. The world does not operate by that rule. Most people will never read beyond the cover. They won't investigate your intentions, your effort, or your private struggles. They respond to what is visible, immediate, and easy to process. Appearance is not superficial, it is decisive. We live in a visual hierarchy. Competence is inferred from confidence. Authority is inferred from posture. value is inferred from presentation. Before a word is spoken, judgments are already made, and once made, they are rarely revised. Machiavelli understood that power is not just possessed, it is performed. A prince who fails to manage his image invites others to define it for him, and they will not be generous. If you do not control the narrative around you, it will be written by rivals, resentments, or chance. This does not require lying. It requires curation. Curation means understanding that how you are seen matters as much as what you do. Your tone, your pacing, the setting in which you appear, these are signals to the unconscious mind. They communicate status faster than words ever could. Consider the person who works quietly, waits patiently, and hopes to be noticed. They believe merit will rise on its own. It rarely does. They fade into the background while someone less capable but more visible advances. Not because the system is fair, but because perception rewards clarity, not effort. Spectacle does not mean noise. It means contrast. If everyone is loud, restraint becomes noticeable. If everyone is casual, formality signals authority. If everyone is frantic, calm becomes unsettling. Powerful people move differently. They do not rush. They speak without filler. They do not apologize for taking up space. Their movements suggest time belongs to them, not the other way around. These details seem small, but the nervous system reads them instantly. Visibility also requires restraint. Oversharing is not transparency, it is erosion. When everything is exposed, nothing carries weight. Mystery preserves value. The less people know about you, the more carefully they watch. Your inner life is not meant for public consumption. It is private. Unfiltered exposure weakens presence. The outer image exists to navigate the world as it is, not as it should be. This may feel artificial. That discomfort is common. It comes from believing authenticity must be unguarded. In reality, every role in society has always required a mask. Refusing to wear one does not make you honest. It makes you vulnerable. Law 6 is simple. Perception shapes reality, and reality responds to what it sees. Control the image, or accept the one given to you. Law 7. Timing patience is the ultimate weapon. The final law binds all the others together. Without it, power collapses into noise. Amateurs are always in a hurry. They rush to respond, rush to decide, rush to prove, rush to arrive. They mistake speed for strength. In reality, haste signals dependence. It reveals anxiety. It tells the world you need the outcome now, and whoever needs it less controls the exchange. Machiavelli wrote often about fortuna and virtù. Fortune, he said, is like a violent river, unpredictable, destructive, impossible to command. You cannot control the river, but you can control when you enter it. Timing is not passivity. It is discipline. Most failures trace back to impatience. The message sent too soon. The decision made under pressure. The deal accepted out of fear. The confrontation forced before leverage existed. People don't lose because they act. They lose because they act early. To operate with timing is to step outside the frantic ticking of the clock. It is to tolerate tension without releasing it. When provoked, the instinct is to react. The disciplined response is to wait. Silence stretches. Discomfort rises. The other person fills the gap, often poorly. In negotiations, the one willing to wait longest sets the price. If you need the agreement today, you will pay for it. If you can wait a month, the other side will. Time exposes desperation. Patience conceals it. This requires suppression not of emotion, but of impulse. You must train yourself to hold still while others flinch, to resist the urge to resolve uncertainty prematurely. The body rebels against this at first. Waiting feels like losing. It isn't. Observe predators in nature. The lion does not chase every movement. It conserves energy. It watches. It waits for alignment, distance, angle, wind. And when the moment arrives, it strikes once. decisively. Timing works the same way in life. There are moments to advance and moments to retreat. Acting aggressively during a retreat invites destruction. Hesitating during an opening forfeits opportunity. Knowing the difference requires detachment. You cannot read the board while emotionally invested in the outcome. Detachment slows perception. Slower perception reveals patterns. Patterns reveal timing. Most people are fighting time. They race against it, react to it, panic under it. The disciplined individual lets time work for them. Silence becomes pressure. Delay becomes leverage. Stillness becomes authority. Timing is not about waiting forever. It is about waiting until, when all the pieces are in place, action becomes inevitable. Resistance collapses. Outcomes shift quickly, not because of force, but because of alignment. Control time, and the rest follows. Without timing, power is reckless. With it, power becomes quiet and final. You don't need more information. You need proof. So here's the challenge most people will read. Feel a spike of motivation from, and then quietly ignore. For the next 5 days, do one thing only. Withdraw. Reply slower than you want to. Explain less than feels comfortable. Cancel one non-essential appearance. Say, "I'll get back to you," and actually mean it. No announcements. No justifications. No emotional cleanup afterward. Why? Because right now, your nervous system is addicted to immediate relief. You answer fast to reduce anxiety. You over-explain to avoid tension. You stay available to feel needed. And every time you do that, you train the world to treat you as replaceable. This 5-day experiment is not about being rude. It's about letting your body experience something unfamiliar. Restraint without collapse. If you're right, nothing will change. People won't care. Your absence won't register. But if Machiavelli is right, you'll notice subtle shifts by day 3. Messages become shorter, then sharper. Requests turn into questions. Attention moves toward you instead of through you. Most people won't last 5 days. They'll cave on day 1 to soothe discomfort. If you complete all 5 days, come back here and comment what changed. Not how you felt what the world did differently. Because power isn't claimed, it's observed. Your move. I'll say this first. Everything said before has limits. Not because it's wrong, and not because it needs defending. Limits simply show up when you live with these ideas long enough. After watching power dynamics up close, who controls, who withdraws, who waits, I noticed something that doesn't fit cleanly into the usual narratives. The mechanics work, scarcity works, detachment works, silence works. People respond predictably. Hierarchies rearrange themselves. That part is not a mystery anymore. What's rarely discussed is the quiet cost that follows. Not guilt, not regret. Something flatter than that. A thinning. The fewer reactions you give, the fewer you receive. The more you are needed, the less you are known. Control sharpens perception, but it also narrows it. You start seeing patterns everywhere, and people slowly stop feeling like surprises. This is where I part ways with most power content. I don't believe dominance is the point. I don't believe knowing the rules makes anyone superior. It just removes illusions. What you do after that matters more than the advantage itself. Here's the uncomfortable part. Some people don't lose because they're unaware. They lose because winning would cost them something they're not willing to trade. There's no conclusion there, just space to sit with it. You've now seen the structure beneath the surface. Not opinions, not motivation. A set of forces that operate whether you approve of them or not. Scarcity, dependence, concealment, asymmetry, precision, perception, timing. They don't ask for belief. They only reveal themselves in outcomes. Nothing here promises comfort. These laws don't make life fairer, warmer, or easier to explain. They make it clearer. They explain why some people advance without announcing it, why others are respected without asking, and why those who try hardest are often valued least. Once you recognize the pattern, it becomes difficult to pretend you don't see it in your own relationships, your work, your reactions. This is not a call to become ruthless. It's not an invitation to dominate. It's an acknowledgement of the terrain you're already standing on. Power dynamics don't begin when you choose to engage with them. They were there long before you noticed. From here on, there's no innocence to return to, only awareness. And awareness is quiet. It doesn't rush. It doesn't perform. It watches. It waits. It decides when to act and when not to. Some people will see these laws and feel exposed. Others will feel relieved. Most will feel both. That tension doesn't resolve neatly. It stays. And how you live with it, whether you react, withdraw, apply, or ignore, will quietly shape the rest of your outcomes. That's all there is. The board doesn't disappear. You just finally see it.